Kunal, that I have is coming in from Bharatwaj, who's writing to us from Coimbatore. Actually wants to know about 1,700 shares of BEL. Average price is 235 rupees. Wants to know if he can buy more for the next 3 to 5 years. What do you think?
Very good morning to all of you as well as to Gaurang. On BEL, again, very interesting chart. The stock in the last 1 week, 1 month has recovered, I think, more than 20% from 245.50 levels to now 300 plus mark. Looks attractive even at current levels, and the entire theme seems to be coming back into a very strong breakout mode. So would suggest a buy, as well as even if you're looking at a buy at current levels, as well as maybe in case if there is any kind of a mild correction, that could be a good zone where you could look to add further for BEL.
That's a take coming in on Bharat Electronics. Let's move on, and welcome to the show as well. Let's take a look at the next query coming in. It's coming in from, we don't have the viewer's name, but the stock in question is L&T Finance. Our viewer's holding 400 shares of L&T Finance at a price of 135. He's asking if he should add more or book profits. Also, Kunal, on the technical front, he's asking for a short-term target. So let's get a contra view on L&T Finance. And Gaurang, we'll come to you first, and then followed by that, Kunal, we'll just come to you for a quick chart check on what the targets are looking like. But Gaurang, you take it first.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me on the show. Morning to all of you all, and to my good friend Kunal as well. Our sense at Geojit is that the entire banking and finance, that includes public sector bank, private sector banks, and strong NBFCs, diversified as well as small payment banks and housing finance companies. If you have a long-term point of view, first of all, my advice is that if your investment is in strong stock in these sectors, be it banking, NBFC, or diversified NBFCs, you should not be in a hurry to book the profits. That's primarily because our view at Geojit is that we expect the entire banking and finance NBFCs to do very well in terms of earnings for not only the fourth quarter, which is coming by, the last quarter of this financial year, but also for the next couple of financial years and quarters to come by. Comes from a very strong pedigree group, that is L&T. We have a positive coverage on L&T Finance from a long-term point of view. And if your investment is from a long-term point of view, my advice is don't be in a hurry to book profits.
And don't be in a hurry to book profits when it comes to that particular counter. Kunal, I'll tell you what, I'll come right back to you because we do have Mohit writing to us from Ludhiana. Wants to know about Star Health, 200 shares, buy price is 590 rupees, and the time horizon that he has in mind is about 3 years. What do you think about this?
So I'm not sure whether you could look to buy at current levels, because it still looks like that the stock is into a major downtrend. So I think from 2021-22, when the stock had listed, I think post that it's just gone through a consistent downtrend from 900 plus levels towards a point when the fall was arrested at 500 mark, and now at 350, 360 levels. There could be maybe a point where, so over the next 1 or 2 months, you might see the stock say coming back towards 450, 500 mark, but it's still not a chart which I would believe that it looks attractive from a long-term play. Of course, looking at just the history of the last 3-4 years or so for Star Health. So I would suggest that not to put money into averaging out the stock at current levels. Just hold on to the stock. Maybe there could be better price point where you may look to get a better exit for the stock.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on Star Health. Kunal, I just want to come back to you because remember that day on Friday during our Pathshala day, we were talking about the double bottom formation on the charts, and we have someone who's written to us about that query again, and the stock in question this time is it's Colgate. Okay, it's Colgate Palmolive, and they have 15 shares of Colgate at an average price of 2784. They would like to add more quantity. They're asking for a good level, and they're trying to understand if they've understood what you were explaining that day correctly. Do you think that this is also a double bottom pattern on the charts?
Yeah, not exactly a double bottom, but it says that the stock is holding on to a support. Double bottom generally happens when there is a reasonable bounce which happens for stock prices. Like for example, the Bank Nifty chart which I discussed on Friday's Pathshala, where after a phase where the Bank Nifty managed to hit 48,000 odd mark, there was a bounce of almost 2,000 points for the Bank Nifty. That's generally the idea which we look out for when you're looking at double bottom, not just that the price gets arrested at a certain price point. Now for Colgate, the only good part when I look at the charts is that over the last 1 month, since the end of February, start of March, the stock has been holding on to the 2400 levels broadly. But then the concern with the charts for Colgate is that the bounce is not very sharp. It's very, very shallow. So there was just a bounce of 40-50 points, which is 2.5% in a market where the Bank Nifty and the Nifty is rallied almost 5-6%. So I think in that context, the bounce is very shallow. I would just look out for a point where 2400 mark could be a point where you may look to average further for Colgate. But as I said, not a classical double bottom, which we typically look out for.
Alright, then that's a take coming in as far as Colgate is concerned. Gaurang, I'll come to you with the next one because we do have Hamza writing to us from Madurai, wants to know about Indus Tower. Good time to buy at this point. He's a senior citizen.
So I think this entire pack was buzzing when we heard the news of Starlink venturing, and of course the JV is getting formed. So this is a company which provides infrastructure for cellular communications, enabling pan-India, and of course otherwise. In this tower, we have a hold recommendation from a long-term point of view. If you want to buy it, given the rally that we've seen in the market for the last maybe about 10 to 12 days, and it's not very long ago, I think it was on 4th of March, we were close to about 22,000 or sub 22,000, and from there, in 20 days, we are trading at 23,600 plus levels. So start at current levels, and on dips, you can add on to it. I think that would be a good strategy.
So start and keep adding as and when the stock dips. If it does, Indus Towers, that's the solution coming in from Gaurang. Kunal, coming to you. Next query coming in from our viewer, Mr. Madhukar, who's writing to us from Hyderabad. He wants to buy Tata Technologies and Birla Soft for 2 years period. Please suggest levels to buy. Alternatively, in this sector, if you think there are any better stocks, if you would like to recommend. But other than that, Tata Tech and Birla Soft are names that we've been hearing quite frequently on the show. A lot of people have been asking for it. What would be good levels to spot out for on both of these for the medium to long term, and what should our viewer do right now? He wants to buy, so would it be a good time?
See, price wise, yes, these stocks could probably have come back towards a ending phase of a major correction. But the sector, for example, Birla Soft, I think if I'm not wrong, we were discussing this last week also. So price wise, yes, very attractive. But the only concern is that the IT index is going through a bit of a corrective phase, and if this correction extends itself for another couple of quarters, which we have seen historically for IT index, that whenever they go into a correction, it's not a 1 quarter correction for these stocks. The intensity of correction is sharp in the first quarter, and then what follows is a price drag for these names, where over the series of the next few quarters, these stocks, they tend to underperform, consolidate, remain lower at the lower price bands. That's the concern which I am expecting for many of these so-called IT names, whether it's large caps or mid caps. So price wise, as I said, yes, attractive. Birla Soft also, I think last week also I flagged off that sub the 400 mark or closer to this 400 levels could be a good point where you may look to average further in case if your cost price is higher. But then look at these bounce backs, and whenever the bounce backs happens for these names over the next say 3 weeks, 4 weeks of 10-15% rally, those are points where you may just look to lighten the positions and book out your trading profits so that you can get out and shift to some other performing sectors.
Alright.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.